Welcome to Happy Homes and Gardens. I'm your host. My name is Daphne Royse. I am a real estate broker, architecture, and interior designer. Twrl milk tea is a guilt-free beverage made with non-GMO, plant-based pea protein and organic tea, and it's packed with sustainability in mind. Let's welcome Olivia Chen, who is a co-founder and CMO of Twrl Milk Tea, to share her insights on their healthy tea. Welcome, Olivia.
Thank you so much. So excited to be here.
Please tell us who you are and how you started Twrl Milk Tea.
Yeah, I'm Olivia Chen, co-founder of Twrl Tea, and we're based here in San Francisco Bay Area. We are a women-owned, minority-owned EAPI. We're both Chinese and Taiwanese American founders. And Twrl Milk Tea really started in our home kitchen with a desire to find a good cup of milk tea that wasn't too sweet and, had really packed full of really clean ingredients and didn't have too many calories. And so 3 years later, we're in about 1,300 retailers and still, claiming a journey onto letting more and more people know what milk tea is, which is essentially a tea latte. Instead of a coffee latte, it's a tea latte, tea that's brewed using single origin small family farm teas, and then a little bit of splash of non-dairy milk, and then a little bit of sugar.
What is a milk tea and why is Twrl different than other milk tea?
Yeah, so when I think of milk tea, I think of it's starting in Taiwan, which is where the phenomenon bubble milk tea started in the 80s. And it's tea that's brewed, and then they have a milk or non-dairy in our situation, and a little bit of sugar. And you pair it with bobas or bubble pearls. And we make kind of boba toppings that you can actually make boba. We have these like new popping bobas. We have a crystal boba that's made with cognac. And we allow you to kind of customize just like we would in a cafe. And so kind of our tagline is making cafe style milk teas paired with boba toppings in your home anytime, anywhere. And basically, especially also at a fraction of the cost, right? But you could feel really good about the ingredients and know that they're not too sweet and much cleaner. And so that's a little bit of like what milk tea is. But to the person who's never had milk tea, what is that? Basically, it's a tea latte. And we really, when we think of, Starbucks, it's very synonymous with frappuccinos. But when I think of Twrl milk tea, we want people to think of us as like a tea latte.
You just mentioned Starbucks recently, and I saw they also had the boba. So what is the
Yes.
boba? And does boba has any nutrition benefits? And how many types of boba out there?
Yeah, so we're really excited. So Starbucks has jumped on the boba wagon and they are doing a popping pearls. And basically that there's a couple of names. There's a bubble tea. So the word bubble came from was Paul, right? And so what happened is in Taiwan, when they first made the bubble tea, they basically brewed tea, they put cream, sugar, and then they used a shaker, like a cocktail shaker that you use for alcohol, and they shook. And then that foam was actually part of the milk tea, that froth. And so Starbucks, being Starbucks, a great place for coffees and teas, they also launched their summer drink and they include popping boba. And popping boba is a new type of bubble or pearl that is bobas that are filled with juice. So we have three lines. We have a lychee, we have a honey, and we have a strawberry. And ours are completely dye free. So we're the first to kind of do these single serve packets at home. So kind of mimicking like what a lot of these boba shops are doing, but now we are doing it where you can make them at home. And so we're also excited that Starbucks, it's a big like, company, is actually also launching their first pearls or bubble or boba teas that have popping boba. And so you had mentioned, are there a lot of different types of boba? There are. The original one is a brown sugar boba. And so that's a tapioca based. And this one is made with brown sugar, so it has kind of like that's a little bit more sweetness. And this one you do have to activate. So it's a tapioca. And what I mean by activate, in Taiwanese, when we say the perfect boba, we use the word QQ. The QQ is just al dente, similar to what people talk about pasta. So QQ is the perfectly chewy, like texture that you want from a boba. And a boba is just something that's a little bit chewy that when you pair with your drink and you slurp it up, you have this a little bit unexpected but surprising little kind of texture that you can enjoy with your drinks. And for the people who are kind of not wanting to have that more like I think with just a little bit more sweetness, we have a very low calorie made version made with cognac. So cognac is really popular in Asia. So people who are kind of dieting or wanting to not be as full, they'll actually look for what we call there. It's in Chinese, it's called Twrl. And so that's what cognac is. And so it's basically kind of like jelly-like. And so we call in Chinese, we're calling ours 钻石珍珠, the crystal bobas or diamond bobas. And basically they're just like very light jelly-like bobas that you can pair. And all of these ones are like ready to eat. So you don't have to activate. You can just mix and match. You can put them on shaved ice cream. There's just snacks that you can have on your own as well. So we would love people to kind of learn a little bit more about like this boba world that we just talked about.
So you mentioned that was filled with the juice. So at least we have a antioxidants, vitamin C.
Well, I never want to make any claims that the FDA might come after me, but you know, they're strawberry, honey, and lychee, and so very fun flavors, perfect for summer. And so we just love people to kind of, dive in deep. I'm actually throwing a boba bar party on this Sunday, and so we're just going to have all the toppings out, and people can mix and match and make their own drink.
Wow, that would be nice.
And one thing I wanted to say is our milk teas, these are very low sugar. So they're only like 9 grams, 7 grams of sugar, organic agave. And like this one is only 50 calories per can. Like a boba milk tea is 350 to 450 calories. So you asked a little bit about like health benefits. Like Pauline and I are both moms. So we were looking for a drink that wasn't too heavy in calories and not too sweet. And the reason is as we got older, we realized, we weren't able to burn off those calories as quickly. Our genetics had kind of kicked in. And so, felt pretty guilty, honestly, about having a milk tea every day. And just that amount of sugar and calories was a little bit alarming for us. And so that's when Twrl really, really was like born, was just trying to find something that wasn't too sweet. And so our whole premise, these cafe style milk teas and boba toppings is really centered around health, lower sugars, lower calories, cleaner ingredients, but also centered around like the idea of like sustainability, right? So, 6 million boba cups are consumed a day. So that's single-use plastics that are filling landfills. And so in the US, 1 million boba cups are consumed. And so we chose specifically to be the first kind of canned milk tea that really focused on, health, sustainability. And what's fun about our products are my co-founder Pauline, we've been friends for 20 plus years. She actually designs all our packaging. She was a food and beverage designer for 20 plus years. And so all our designs, our typographer are all in-house. And so some things that people might find fun from a design perspective is our logo, has kind of like a twirl. And people ask a lot, like, where does that, name come from? And it really came from an emperor, a Chinese emperor, was walking through his garden holding a hot cup of water, and a leaf twirled into his cup. And that's the story of the beginnings of when brewed tea was born. So we like to kind of, with an exclamation part in our logo, to kind of be like, we're twirling in excitement, we're steeped in history. So it's a little bit, but we have also this modern twist, right? Where we incorporate kind of bright colors and clean design that reflects more of Pauline and I as being Chinese and Taiwanese Americans. We grew up in the US. Our kind of backgrounds are here. And so kind of incorporating a little bit of the history, but also incorporating a little bit of us. which is being moms, being focused on health, and very focused on sustainability.
That was a great story that about your name, Twrl. Why you decided to remove the bell?
Well, so we like to be a little bit different from everyone. And so the idea was, she's a designer and we aesthetically, we really care about the look. And so we felt that was just a fun aspect. And then also it allowed us to explain more about our name, right? Because people might not understand like why we talk about our name and where did it come from. So this gave us a chance to kind of highlight that name. And also, one, we want to share more about the tea culture. So growing up, if I was sick, my family gave me tea. They brewed tea when we had guests over. We also served tea when we went to dim sum. We also had tea, so tea was always a huge part of our families. Pauline, her parents are from Hong Kong, so she grew up with more of a Cantonese style, which was condensed milk. I'm from Taiwan. My parents are there, so I grew up with more of the traditional bubble milk tea. And so this is a way for us to continually share more about the tea culture, about what tea is, its significance to us is, and where we can kind of continue to evangelize. Tea is a little bit kind of like the second child to coffee in the US. The entire world is actually tea drinkers more than coffee drinkers. But in the US, we're more coffee drinkers. So in a lot of ways, are trying to kind of come out from that and just share more about the benefits of tea. Like you asked about antioxidants, like our green teas have high antioxidants. We use single origin teas. And what I mean by that is it's not a commercial tea. So a typical Lipton black tea is a tea that comes from many farms from many parts of the world and create one blend. We actually use a tea that's from one part of the world, from one place. And so, for example, our black tea, our Taiwan style black tea is made with a dragonwell tea. And this dragonwell tea sits on a mountainside under a misty river and it has very, very romantic conditions of chocolate and cinnamon notes. And so, very similar to wine, where you have notes and regions, our teas are also the same because they're what we call single origin.
You mentioned earlier about condensed milk for Hong Kong people. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Is it condensed milk considered plant-based milk?
It's not. It's just something that she grew up with. It's called yin yang tea. And so it's something that Pauline grew up with that she's very nostalgic for, but it's a style of milk tea that they had in Hong Kong. And I feel like it's what she grew up with. Whereas I grew up with more sugar and cream and milk, and that's the froth that you get with bubble milk tea. But it is something we actually have a video I think on YouTube or TikTok, and so it does show kind of how you make a yin yang with our plant-based milk teas with condensed milk. But they do actually have condensed milk that is plant-based. I have used that actually, and it's pretty good.
Oh, okay. I'm probably looking forward to finding if I can find
Yes.
it in the store.
Yeah, it's actually very commonly, you can easily find it.
Okay. And please tell us about the climate change friendly aspect of your tea.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to highlight about our teas that are really unique are what we call a single origin tea. So this is a very popular term that has come out of coffee shops like Blue Bottle. And what it's really talking about is a single place where this tea is from. So a Lipton tea, for example, is what they call commercial tea. And that commercial tea means it comes from many different farms around the world and they create one blend. Where our tea is from one place in the world, for example, our Dragonwell or Taiwan style is brewed with a tea. This farm lives on a mountainside, misty river, very romantic conditions. So it gives notes of chocolate and cinnamon. And so our mulberry tea is made with ube, and so this has more coconut and vanilla notes. And so it really kind of why we're really excited about that and why single origins has been really popular is because it's similar to wine, where a region has notes and flavor profiles and makes it very unique to their wines. Our teas are very similar. And so when we think about our jasmine pu'er, that has, very floral, very herbal notes. When we have our hojicha, it's very chocolate and nutty notes. And so we are really proud to support small family farms, pay them fair trade. And what that means is, fair wages for the work that they do. Our farms only use non-GMO and they don't use pesticides. They use very traditional farming methods. So that really supports the sustainability. So the idea that, they really plant in season. They don't use pesticides that kill kind of the ecosystem. And another aspect that's about our teas is we use a very climate-friendly pea protein. So we're really excited. People are like, what is that? And it's like yellow peas. That's what we use. And we chose yellow peas during the pandemic. Pauline was testing 20 plant-based milk, and we netted it out with pea protein because one, it was very neutral, but two, it also provided protein. So every drink has 1.5 grams of protein, and it's very, very climate friendly. And what I mean by that is it doesn't require a lot of water to produce. So almonds use a lot of water, and it doesn't produce a lot of carbon emissions, which is, affects global warming. And it's very low in sugar and low in carbs. So something like oat milk, which is very popular in the plant-based worlds. Oats taste really great actually, but they're really high in carbs and high in sugar. So you're essentially drinking sugar water. And so we like to kind of people to kind of just think about it in moderation. And so we created this drink so we could drink it every day. And so we didn't feel as comfortable using an oat milk just because that wasn't something we could claim or actually feel good about drinking every day.
Does a Twrl milk tea have a company philosophy?
Yeah, I think our company philosophy is having great tasting cafe style milk teas paired with boba toppings that are inspired by our Chinese and Taiwanese heritage with a real strong focus on health and sustainability. So those kind of pillars really guide what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish. And, we are trying to change the beverage industry. We created this milk tea category that doesn't exist in kind of natural retailers like Sprouts and Whole Foods. And so we're kind of carving out a whole new section. And as new founders to this industry, we are doing a lot of educating. Even though boba milk tea is a really large industry, like 3.7 billion, and tea being the fastest growing category, there's still education that has to happen about, well, what is that tea latte or what is that milk tea? They know it's a hot category because they see everywhere around the world people walking with a bubble milk tea in their hand. The likes of Bill Gates, Sumu, they're all having them at the economic forums. And so it's a very popularized concept, but there's still people who don't know about it. And so we're on that cusp of kind of evangelizing and sharing more about the tea culture, but also milk tea. But our at the core of our existence, I think, is also to share more about kind of flavors and stories and culture about our own heritage. So growing up, I, always cooked or, loved being in the kitchen, but a lot of the brands and things that you found in your fridge or your pantry didn't look like founders that looked like myself. And I would say at a time it wasn't something that was highlighted or celebrated, but now we've come into an age where, people do care. People are shopping with their dollars. They're looking for brands that support and understand their culture. Food is such a big part of our growing up, right? All of us had centered around holidays and so we are kind of embracing that part of the brand story and brand journey of sharing and evangelizing kind of what traditions we grew up with.
Can you briefly share how many type of a beverage Twrl milk tea currently offer?
Yeah, so we have 4 SKUs. We have 4 plant-based milk teas, all non-dairy, and we have a hojicha roasted green tea that has, I mentioned, chocolate and nutty notes. And hojicha simply means roasted in Japanese. And people ask, like, why do you roast it? And so typically green tea has a bitter aftertaste. And when you roast it, the green tea, you actually take away the bitterness, but you add a layer of nuttiness. And so that drink has won quite a few awards, like best beverage. for 2021. And so that's a really fun one for people who are kind of adventurous and likes a new thing. We also have our first caffeine free. I mentioned earlier, it's made with ube and mulberry tea, and it's Taiwanese ube and Taiwanese mulberry tea. And mulberry is an herbal tea, so it's completely caffeine free, great for adults, and also like something really great for night for dessert. It's a little bit more thick because it has ube and it's coconut and vanilla notes. And one fun thing is this actually is completely made in Taiwan. I'm Taiwanese. We actually worked to bring one whole new flavor, and we wanted to be closer to our Taiwanese farmers. And so this varietal of ube is a Japanese varietal that has just these wonderful notes of coconut vanilla. And so we hope people have a chance to enjoy it for dessert. And then we have a jasmine pu'er. And pu'er is a fermented tea. So most people, when they think of like kimchi or kombucha, that's really great for the gut and probiotics. A fermented tea like pu'er is also really great for digestion. And that's actually what Chinese medicine doctors recommend when their people are having digestion issues, is to actually drink pu'er. So our jasmine pu'er is very floral, very herbal. And that is a really, really wonderful pairing. And I would say people who like are food connoisseurs, like who love cheese and artisanal things and like really into wines, they really enjoy this jasmine pu'er. And then our last tea would be the Taiwan style black. And people might wonder, like, why, where did that name come from? Well, it's an homage to the original black tea that both Pauline and I had in Taiwan, and it's our kind of version of the black tea we loved. And so it has chocolate and cinnamon notes. And I wanted to call out, we did a special collaboration. This is celebrating our 3rd year as a small business. And so this is a special design that you can find on Whole Foods and Wegmans and Central Market, around kind of all the different retailers that carry us. And it was done in collaboration with the Taiwanese American Federation of Northern California and a Taiwanese American artist, Eugenia Yo, who's a child book illustrator. And so it features like the Formosan bear that's only iconic indigenous to Taiwan. It shows Taiwan 101. It shows like the bullet train, as well as the fields of tea fields that are very common to Taiwan's countryside, and where we actually source a lot of our teas. And even little designs, I don't know if you can tell, but in our lanterns, which is very common to a place in Pingxi where they do the lantern festivals for Lunar New Year, we actually write in very small words the word Taiwan in Chinese. So it was really to pay homage to the first generations, like my parents, who immigrated from Taiwan, but they see we write Taiwan in, out the alphabet letters, but Taiwan is written in Chinese characters. So a lot of these like very little details, but it was also to celebrate kind of the founding birthplace of bubble milk tea. And we just were so excited to do this as a special edition for our small business.
Sounds great. Where can people find Twrl milk tea?
Yeah, so they can find them. We're in about 1,300 retailers, and we are in Whole Foods, Central Market, Wegmans. We're also in World Market, and our boba toppings are in nationwide in Sprouts. So we have the brown sugar, the popping. The popping just launched this month in June. So run or twirl on over to your Sprouts and check us out. But we're really excited about these boba toppings. And these are all made in Taiwan. So the original birthplace of bubble and boba milk teas are pearls. Some people call them pearls because they do look like pearls. And so, yeah, we're really, really excited to just share more about kind of our version. And we're the first to kind of do these single serve packets. And what I mean by that is just, you can just cut it open, pour it into your drink, and you're ready to go. Traditionally, they're really just for commercial use. You can only find them in places like bubble shops, or even like now you can find them in Starbucks. But you can make your own like version of a Starbucks or a bubble tea drink right at home with our drinks and our boba toppings.
Wonderful. Must Twrl milk tea be refrigerated?
No, so they're completely shelf stable, but obviously they taste best cold. All drinks taste best cold or over ice. And one trick, you can just freeze it for 45 minutes, if you're that eager, and then take it out. And you can even freeze it a little bit. It's actually a little bit like a frozen slushy. So it tastes really good. We've made custards, we've made things that require a milk or a liquid, and you substitute with our Twrl milk teas. And our bobas, especially our brown sugar boba, it tastes so good in waffles and brownies. It's just that something a little bit extra for that QQ chewiness that I had mentioned before. And so it tastes so good. And you could also just eat it on your own.
Can they be heated up as hot tea?
Yes, for sure. The jasmine one, especially because it sounds like you lit a jasmine candle. And so it's a tea latte, it's a coffee latte. You can have it hot or cold. And I would recommend, just trying them both, especially in the winter.
You mentioned whole food, but can people in 50 states in US
Ah,
purchase
yes,
your
yes,
tea?
yes. Yeah, so
Okay.
we're on Amazon, we're on Instacart for online shoppers, Good Eggs, Say we're on We, and that allows people to actually purchase. We do ship nationwide on our website as well. And so we do like kind of advertise or promote or support our retailers. So we encourage you to kind of look at all different versions. Sign up for our email. There's also free shipping when you sign up for our free email.
Wonderful. Where is your website and how can people find more information about Twrl milk tea?
Yeah, so please connect with us on our social media. Our handle is the same for all for LinkedIn, TikTok, Twrl. It's at and then TWRL and then milk MILK and then TET. So Twrl milk tea. And then our website is the same, just www.twrlmilkte.com. And then I still check the LinkedIn's and the social media. So DM me. I'm happy to chat.
Thank you so much, Olivia. This is a wonderful session that people understand your milk tea, your philosophy, and definitely wonderful products at
Yeah,
their
thank you so
beverage
much.
shops.
Yeah, we're really excited. A lot of the universities and cafes do carry us instead. So, you never know if you're at these cafes. Maybe you're having a twirl milk tea, you don't even know it.
Can't wait to try one. Thank you.
Thank you.